Nestled in the Swiss Alps, Lucerne, Switzerland is a living museum of medieval architecture and culture. Flanked by dramatic peaks and boasting a culinary scene centered around decadent fondue, this city already has its grip on me.
Lucerne is a medieval as fuck looking town. There's medieval water towers, medieval walls guarding the city, and Google Maps and Apple Maps doesn't know what the fuck to do when you get here. I literally drove in circles for like an hour and a half last night as Apple Maps was telling me to drive down sidewalks. I thought I was gonna wake up in a Swiss jail. I'm staying at the Magic Hotel, and I would say the most magical part about it is how they make their staff disappear. This bridge leads to the old water tower. The water tower was built in 1262, and the basement was a 6-meter tall dungeon. And right above it now is a gift shop. Get yourself a Swiss Army knife right above the Dungeon of Death. There's definitely more culture here than most places. Just as I was walking past the Opera House, you could hear them practicing. There she is. Ooh. I hope you can hear that. That's dope. The city really comes alive during the day. When I got here last night, it was a ghost town. It's definitely a lot cloudier than I had anticipated, and I can't see the top of a lot of these mountains around here, which is a little disappointing because it is the Swiss fucking Alps, and you kind of want to see them if you're here. This is the oldest wooden bridge of its kind in all of Europe, and while it looks romantic, it's actually called the Dance of Death Bridge. Not because people have died on it, which I'm sure they have. It's called the Dance of Death Bridge because there's an art installation called Dance Macabre, and it depicts reapers taking knights, monks, beggars, peasants, all to the afterlife. It's a bunch of really dark paintings, which are fucking awesome. It's supposed to remind you to live life every second, because every second is 1 second closer to death. One of these creepy reapers showing up next to your bed. This city really feels medieval. It's got little nooks and crannies, strange bars on windows. It's like Miami. Every time I visit a city outside of the United States that is hundreds of years old, it makes me realize how sterile we have been with setting up our infrastructure in our cities. It's all just gridded out, numbered, square, incredibly fucking boring, especially when compared to cities like this where there's cool alleyways, hidden passages, really, really, really cool architecture with strangely named streets, and just a sense of magic. This is the Lion of Lucerne. It is a massive, massive stone sculpture right in the side of this cliff. This is in remembrance of all the Swiss Guard that died in the French Revolution fighting Louis XVI. Mark Twain actually visited the sculpture as well, and he called it the most mournful and moving piece of stone in the world. Mark Twain's, kind of known for having a way with words, so I'm not going to try to top that. What he said.
The legendary Mount Pilatus overlooks Lucerne, and the legends of dragons dwelling here ignite the imagination. It also has the world's steepest cogwheel train.
If you've ever been to the Pikes Peak cogwheel train, you'll know that they tell you they got those trains from Switzerland. And judging by the cogwheel trains here in Lucerne, those trains aren't even certified pre-owned. Those are like some janky auto lot in some compound in the middle of Switzerland where they got a deal. Because this train is badass. There might not be much of a view at the top today because of how cloudy it is, but as long as it's not raining, it still should be pretty cool. Wow, my ears are popping. The higher we get, the more you're getting that pine, that deciduous smell. Smell the minerals, the stone. I know I live in Colorado and I see mountains all the time, but there's something about these that hit different. Whoa. This place looks and feels like a dragon's lair. There's this eerie cloud cover and mist at all the peaks, and it just really brings out this feeling of mystery and wonder. We're starting to approach the cloud level. If I was a dragon, this would be where I'd be hanging out. Just creeping around in the mist. Ready to fry up a barbecue some medieval night. It's like shell on shrimp. I wonder if dragons peeled the nights after they barbecued them. Well, they weren't lying. There's no view up here today. So at least the Swiss are honest. I figured I would walk this trail anyway. It's very mysterious up here. Got the Welcome Center. It's right there. And check out the map. Lucerne. Okay, that's Lucerne. It's right there. You see it? It's right there. Right there. Of all fucking places to put at the top of this mountain in Switzerland, Tampa Bay. This way to a bunch of drunk cunts. Right this way. Thought you should know. I have a feeling this is very, very fucking steep. I bet this shit is terrifying. But here I am.
Keeping on brand with the lore, I've decided to hike the Dragon Trail in search of a better view. And finally, Pilatus has revealed the church known as the chapel at the top of the world.
That was really cool. It felt like I was a dragon just perched on the side of the mountain, just peering down into the Swiss Valley. That church down there was literally on the side of a cliff. Looked like it was about to fall off of it. If I was a dragon, that'd be an easy target. Just torch it, kick it off, watch it tumble. Not because it's a church, it just happens to be one. Could have been anything there.
It's time to leave the dragons behind and drive to the Entlebuch Biosphere for the Alpine Cattle Descent. During the celebration, thousands of cows and goats wearing bells and ornate headdresses are paraded through the village of Schupfheim.
When I looked up the Alpine Cattle Descent that happens once a year here in Switzerland, I thought it sounded pretty cool. Evidently, it's a big fucking deal. I had to park very far and walk into the town to get to where it's all happening, and I can hear it happening right now. I mean, I can't complain. This is a very cool walk through a very cool village.
It's a celebration of culture, including traditional singing and Alphorn music. Ricola, anyone? There's also crafts, artisanal breads and meats, and of course, enough cowbells to cure any fever. I simply cannot resist a meat-stuffed intestine fresh off the grill.
That was legit, probably the best bratwurst I've ever had in my life.
Let's not forget the cheese. It is synonymous with Switzerland, and it's a highly popular attraction here.
It is so difficult to get to the fucking cheese.
I am dying to try some. I mean, it doesn't get more fresh or legit than this.
Finally, the lines for cheese disappeared. I think everybody got their fill. It was really difficult to get cheese earlier. Everybody was just like in a zombie state, just standing in front of cheese, just cheese vision. That is fresh.
This is from this year.
Strongest. That's a strong one.
This village has a year-round population of less than 5,000, and the cattle descent is a great excuse for all of them to let loose with the tourists. There is no shortage of alcohol being consumed, including the traditional drink of weak coffee laced with your choice of schnapps.
Perfect. Romichko.
Prost. Prost. Yes. It's really hot to hold on to. Holy shit. Oh, that is strong. All right, I like it. Fucking cows, let's get it.
The families and their cattle have finally arrived, along with the chaotic sound of their bells.
Those cows got some big bells on them. It's also loud as fuck.
So the calves don't feel left out, they get baby bells.
This has to be one of the most wholesome and badass things I've ever seen. Just dressing up cows, parading them down through town, celebrating them, and then eating them eventually, I guess. I like to think a burger I ate wore a nice flower headdress at some point. I think I need to make this an annual trip, along with Oktoberfest. So at least I feel like I'm a little bit cultured when I'm really just flying to Munich to get totally shit-faced. That works, right?
This YouTube channel is the best YouTube channel on this planet Earth. Like and abonnieren and follow.